Okay, let's see. Hey, everybody. Sorry about the delay. Um, let's see. Hopefully, we're all good to go now. Looks like I have audio. As usual, give me a couple thumbs up. Actually, let me get the chat room going. I had it on my iPad. That's how I was talking to you. Let me open it up on my screen over here. Hopefully, everyone's having a wonderful weekend or week. It's not weekend. Jesus, feels like the weekend because I never finished. I worked all weekend, right? And so yeah, fun times. Got a lot of really great updates. Hopefully, you guys all downloaded them, and that was great. Let me get this pop out chat going. Boom. Okay. Um. Good. Sounds good. Perfect. Thank you very much. Cool. Lots of chit chat. Hopefully, you guys were having some fun. We're gonna jump into it. I just want to say thank you for joining today. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, if this is your first time, welcome. We do these every week, Wednesdays. Normally, I always have some technical issues to begin with, so sorry we're a little bit late. I also sent out the emails a little bit late this time. Sorry about that as well. But yeah, you're here. That's the important part. We got tons of people chatting away. Hopefully, you are at home and yeah, enjoying some of the social distancing. Maybe kind of business as usual for me. This is my life right here. I'm standing right here at this desk. Seems like 24/7. But got three great kids at home and they're off at school in their various bedrooms doing Zoom chat live streams from their teachers. Crazy times, pretty interesting. Teaching my kids how to use Zoom and all that jazz. Google Classroom, it's crazy stuff. So, um, anyway, let's get into the fun stuff. Lots of really great updates today, or not today, in the last 4 or 5 days. Let me just bring up a list here. It's a lot. Let me just go to I just go to the if you're not following Weaver Space on Twitter, all the updates and stuff not are posted there. Also, starting I think it was on Friday, we actually started posting some really cool new stuff on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, follow us on Weaver Space at Instagram. And we've been posting some kind of cool little tips, some previews of some really awesome websites. And if you have a website you'd like to get featured, you think it's cool to be featured on Instagram on our feed, go ahead and send me an email to support@weavers.space and say, hey, Joe, here's a really beautiful site or multiple. Some people I've asked, they've sent me like 15 sites. It's crazy. So yeah, if you want to see your stuff featured, go ahead and post it. Send me an email. Also, hey, go ahead and post it on the gallery on Weaver Space. Did you know we have a designs gallery on Weaver Space? Go ahead and submit it there, and people can see all that stuff there as well. So that'd be really great. Do both. Send them to me or post them to Weaver Space, and I'll see it there. And once I approve it, I'll send it over to Elizabeth Martinez, who's helping me do all these great, amazing posts on Instagram. So, okay, without further ado, I'm going to hop into my Instagram feed and let's look at some of these. Maybe I'll share my screen here so we can kind of look at them together because you guys don't want to look at my ugly mug all this time, right? Oh, did it? Oh, it automatically resized it. Okay, let's go. Okay. I'm just gonna open up Twitter. This is just Twitter feed. Here, we'll go to Weaver Spaces tweets. Mari, if you're here, everyone watch Mari's video. She just posted it a couple days ago, and a great video on how to do messaging during a crisis and stuff like that. Mari was on 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Man, time flies. But yeah, she was on a couple weeks ago when we did that freelancer panel. So check out her video. She posted on YouTube a couple days ago. Okay, so Peekaboo. We're definitely gonna be diving into that one. That's a really cool update. And we'll be diving into 6.3 a little bit. I'm not gonna go over those too much right now because we're gonna be playing with those live. Portal that got a couple small little updates. If you have a Portal in stack, you can now load the Foundation 6 libraries so that you don't have to have site styles on the page, so that you can kind of build out your Foundation 6 inside of a Portal stack. without having to load in site styles. So that's just a little convenience thing. Match height got just some optimizations, works really, really nice in Foundation 6. I'm probably going to actually ship a template that has match height built into it in the next week or so. Now that I have 6.3 out, I needed that out to actually send out some new templates. I needed to get 6.3 shipped first. So Peekaboo, we went over that. SEO Helper got a cool update actually. Now it allows you to, maybe we'll dive into that as well. It allows you to put out custom structured data syntaxes. So that's kind of cool. Offsite, some cool new integrations there with some new stuff in Foundation 6.3 links. So we'll look at that. Pi. Man, Pi got some freaking cool updates. Pi updates are really cool. Man, so many cool stuff. Slot machine. What did I do to slot machine? I don't even remember what I did to slot machine. Is that opening Safari, hopefully? It's opening Safari. Sitelock, added a Sitelock API thing. That's pretty edge case stuff. There's probably a few people that are aware of that. Okay, we'll go go to updates. Oops. Oh, by the way, image hover deal of the week, and I designed this little social share for image hover this week. I'm pretty happy with it. It's really nice. Maybe if we have time, I'll kind of show you how I did that. It was pretty cool. I liked it. I was happy with myself. Okay. Scroll down. What was this? Oh, yes. So in the randomize stack, it allows you to like randomize. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Maybe we'll play with that. And that'll remind me. That was a good reminder. Okay. Let's jump into RapidWeaver and start looking at some of these. I guess probably where we should start is Foundation 6.3. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring up RapidWeaver. Also, any questions that you got going on while I'm talking, just go ahead and post them in the chat. And we will get started. Yeah, my machine's running slow today for some reason. Come on, open the sandbox. Where is it? There it is. Okay, there we go. Just curious how you like it. With me, kind of the video's a lot smaller. It's not as big. You don't get to see this beautiful face as much, but hey, you know, RapidWeaver is probably more important to you guys. I know that. Okay, 6.3. So we went over 6.3 last week. A couple things changed a little bit from there. Right, so hopefully you guys have played around. You'll notice that there are two Font Awesome 5 stacks now. Before there were multiple of them that I showed last week, and the difference is basically now if you click on Font Awesome CSS and fonts, you'll notice that you can load in all of the various libraries directly from the sidebar over here. Right? Okay, so you can choose which icon fonts you want. Okay. Now the question is, I know a lot of you probably didn't read the release notes that I sent, but you'll notice that there is a JS plus SVG version and a CSS and fonts version. This is because Font Awesome 5 offers both ways of loading. Okay. And I wanted to give us both potential options, but with that said, I think you should start with the CSS and fonts. Okay. I think that's a better place to start. Because that's kind of the same exact function or the same exact methodology that Font Awesome 4 used to load all the icons. Okay, and so I think it'll just work as we expect it to, since we're already used to how Font Awesome 4 worked. Right, these will work exactly the same. Okay, other things I did mention that. So like if we go to let's look at a swatch. Okay. I kind of went over the swatch updates that I did. Oh, did I do these updates after last week or not? I don't know. But anyway, so up here now we have it used to be component, now it's an element. Most because it's now it doesn't get cut off, right? We have the full word here. I think it's better. Same exact concept. They're the same. I just changed the labels. But if you go to the elements, you'll notice that we have some new elements here just for Font Awesome, right? So, oops, I didn't want that. I wanted to zoom in. So here we'll notice that we have a few different ones. We have Font Awesome icons that will target all Font Awesome icons on the page. And then we can also target the duotone as well. So the two different colors on the duotone. So now, if you do a default color on the icons, that will actually style the primary, and then accent will do both. But if you want to specifically target the primary and the accents, you can do that here. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's just some of the differences from last week, from what I showed last week in the live stream. Another thing, I think I went over parent class before last week and showed you how that's powerful. I kind of reorganized this a little bit inside the swatches. I just think it's a better layout, right? Because especially for new users, I think this layout for a swatch is better. I also tried to add a lot more elaborate tooltips. So like if you didn't know this, if you hover over any setting, right, the label, you'll get an explanation of what that setting is, right? So I tried to do a little bit better job in these tooltips for swatches. And I elaborated on some of these settings so that, if you have any questions, you can kind of read these and get an idea of what they are. Okay. So it's kind of like I try to do built-in documentation. These tooltips kind of serve as built-in docs for all of my stacks. So yeah, if you have any feedback, I admit sometimes on some stacks, I might be a little bit lazy or have a problem of copying and pasting a setting from somewhere else and forgetting to change the tooltip. Let me know if you find any issues and you think I could do a better job on documenting some of these inside the stack. Then that'll be good. So anyway, get back to this. In this top swatch selector settings, this is really the base of what you need, right? These are the requirements. You either do class mode, element mode, or custom CSS, right? And then these other fields that are down here that are optional, they're optional, right? Don't be confused if you don't need to use them. They're there for other things, right? Pseudo state's pretty cool. I kind of went over some of that last week as well. Okay. Oh, another really cool tip. Let's say like things like, you don't want notes fields. You're never going to use them or something like that. And let's say you don't want to see these optional conditions. You only want to see, and maybe you don't even need advanced, right? So like this is the bare minimum settings that I would need for this swatch. I need the class and I need the settings. Now what's cool, this is a feature in stacks that if you notice I collapse these groups, if I go to another swatch, those same groups are still collapsed, right? So as I navigate to different stacks, those fields that maybe as a new user are confusing you because there's just too much, collapse them. And stacks will remember that you wanted to collapse those groups even across different swatches, and it will keep those collapsed for you. So that's a cool little tip. That's nothing that I did. That's the brilliant mind of Isaiah and of stacks. So cool little tip there. Okay. Other things that I changed in 6.3.2 yesterday. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Let me remind myself 1 second here. Let's look at the release notes for that really quick. I just want to make sure I talk about all the various components. For one thing, so there are a bunch of new. Oh, here's actually another thing. Normally I create a group for Foundation 6. So I have a group in my stacks library over here, right? So over here, I have a group for Foundation 6. What I did is before I had all my templates in here as well, I decided to create another dedicated group just for Foundation 6 templates. I think that's good because it was getting really big. Like trying to find the stack and the template was just kind of crazy. So what I did is I just created a dedicated group just for the templates, and it just makes it a little bit easier. When I want a template, I can go straight here, and I know these are all my Foundation 6 templates. Okay. Now, obviously, in the future, when I ship new templates, you're going to have to make sure you add the new ones into this group as well. Until we get some sort of like smart grouping, tech inside stacks, that's going to be like a manual process, unfortunately. Okay. Here's the release notes over here. Man, community is active today. I just posted these last night, and so many posts. Okay. Whoa, it's big on the screen. Okay, let's shrink that down a little bit. Okay. I fixed active menu styling. Yep. Fixed link buttons. Yep. Smooth scroll. Smooth scroll has a bunch of new options now. Is it on this page? Oh, I think I deleted it. It's okay. Let's build it. Let's build this really quick. I kind of had this page semi-built, so I have a long page with a couple anchor points. So I have anchor 2, anchor 1, so on and so forth. Okay. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to build out some like an on-page nav for this. Let's go ahead and do. Let's make it sticky. Why not? Or we'll put it right here. Make it sticky. And then we'll do it 2 different ways. First, I'm going to add a menu. Okay. And let's just go ahead and in here, I'm going to set this to be bang or £, anchor 1 set. And we're going to set the text to be anchor 1. By the way, I'm using anchor 1 because these are the anchors that I already added on the page from when I was testing this stuff yesterday. Okay, so we have anchor 1, and then I'm just going to copy and paste that twice. We have anchor 2. And we go and set the link to that to be anchor 2. And then we go over here, and we set this to be anchor 3. And we need to set the link, change that to be anchor 3. Cool. Now, another thing we need to do is we need to go to the menu. We need to set this to be on-page navigation. And what you'll see here is there's actually a new setting now for animation effect. Okay, so over here, there's animation effect. And when we click on that, you'll notice that we have all kinds of cool, crazy animation options. And I know that these are probably gibberish to a lot of you. These are the geeky, techie names of all these things. I have it marked down on my list to try to make these some sort of user friendly, like fast, slow, fast, or something like that, right? But what do all these crazy names mean? Okay, so if you look at the tooltip for this animation effect, you'll notice that it says the timing easing effect used. For examples, visit easings.net. And so this is kind of a cool thing. We go to our browser, we go to easings.net. You'll see that the same exact timing functions are all here. And if you hover over any of these, you can kind of see how it goes slow. Like this one, it goes easing quad. It goes slow and then fast, right? So it gets a little bit faster. Like ease in out quad, it kind of goes fast, slows down, fast again, right? Or actually, no, it goes slow, speeds up, and then slows, right? So, and a lot of times this is very subtle, okay? You'll notice a lot of this stuff on, some more elaborate animations. But for page scrolling, you know what? Linear is okay, but a lot of times having something like, let's do like ease in elastic for this one, okay? And we'll increase the speed a little bit. So it's a little bit slower. Let's do like 800. And offset, we'll set that to be 100 pixels from the top, right? So it'll offset. All right, let's test this out. All right, so we open this in the browser. What? Oh, forgot I set this this little doohickey here. Hold on. All right, so here we'll see that I have anchor, right? So if I click on anchor 1, I need to add a white background to that. Hold on one second. Because it's sticky, but we can't see anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another feature that I haven't talked about yet. And this is some new utility classes. And this utility class right here is to quickly put a background color on something. So like, I want this to be a white background, right? So you can now just do BG:white. And what that does is that it'll add a background color to the sticky container. But not only that, it uses the white color that's defined in site styles, right? So if you define the white color to be slightly off white, or maybe like a blue tint of white or something like that, whatever is defined there is what will be used. Okay. And you can do all the same color values for primary, secondary. So it's, BG colon primary, BG colon secondary, alert, warning, black, dark dash gray, medium dash gray, light dash gray. You kind of get it, right? So yeah, that's a really cool feature. I shipped that yesterday. That's a new utility class. Okay. Here, let's just do this. Alignment needs to be centered. There we go. Okay. So now it's anchored. So now if we go click anchor 1, boop, we go anchor 2, boop, anchor 3. If you notice, I mean, I chose ease in elastic, and I chose that as an example where if you noticed, it kind of jumps up a little bit. Probably not the best for a scroll. If we do something like, I think I did like ease out cubic, ease in out cubic. I think that one would be okay. Yeah. Right. So, as you see, that just provides a much nicer scrolling effect. Okay. And this works with both menus. It's also in the anchor buttons as well now. Okay. And just to show you that really quick, we'll go ahead and I'll do it with a button group. Just tag that there. We need this to be anchor 1. Oh, wait, hold on. I need a button group. We need to delete those. We need to add an anchor button. There we go. Go here. Change that to anchor 2. Anchor 2. Oops. Anchor 2. And anchor 3. Okay, and we'll set the alignment to be centered on that as well. Okay, there we go. So, also, this one in particular, so when you're using it on a button, the settings are done on the per button level, unfortunately, right? So, yeah, this is a button group, so we would have to set this, we'd have to turn on smooth scroll for each button. This isn't a problem if you're using a single button, but I guess it would be nice if button groups allowed that on the button group level, potentially. Maybe I should test that. To be honest, I haven't even tested that, see if that's possible, but maybe I'll look at that. Okay. So smooth scroll, and then you could set your whatever effect as well. And then all your scroll settings, just as we did in the menu, right? So if we just preview that, same way, click on anchor 2, takes you to anchor 2, anchor 3, anchor 1, so on and so forth. I see that was the default linear. It's not quite as nice as when we clicked on, these menu items up here. The scroll effect just isn't quite there. So this looks like a simple, fix, but that was a ton of work. So yeah, cool. That was the new animation effect. Okay, so let's look at the last big thing I kind of talked about a little bit was these new swatch colors. Okay. Or utility classes. First thing, to use these utility classes, you have to add them to site styles. They're not added by default. So if you want to use a lot of these utility classes, you have to add it into site styles. And how do we know what all these utility classes are? Well, I'm glad you asked that. So if we go ahead and add the classes stack to the page, I see people saying the video froze. Are you good now? Okay. So, okay. So in classes, so if we add classes, what you'll notice, these are some utility classes that you can add to anything. Okay. Now, by default, when you add this, these are all classes that come out of the box. So you can use all of these classes without adding the utilities class stack to site styles. Okay. But if you notice in the settings over here on the left, you'll see it says show utility classes. Okay, so if we click that, you'll see that this classes stack gets a whole lot bigger. Okay, I'm not going to go into all these utility classes here. I try to document them very well in here. Like margins, wicked useful. With helpers. One thing I did add in this update were some more. We had height helpers before, but now we have some more, right? So we have the ability to all of these VH classes are now new. So we have the ability to say quickly make something 50% of the browser height. That's just H:50 VH, right? That was actually earlier on in here, like this text container stack, right? If I just go ahead and actually, let's go ahead and make that BG black so we can so we can see it. Okay, I'm going to add BG black, and then I'm also going to add H:50 VH. Okay, and you'll notice that it actually applied to it inside edit mode. Okay, so let's look at those classes again. First, I added BG:black. That made the background black. And then 50:VH. VH stands for viewport height. Okay, so when I add that class to anything, it's going to make that that container 50% height of the browser window, and that's exactly what it does, right? So no matter how high the browser window is, that container will always be 50% the height. Okay, and then also you could also do if we look at these classes, you can also do things like MD:60 VH. So maybe like on desktop you want it to be 50%, on mobile you want it to be 70% or something like that, right? You can provide multiple classes, and that is true with a lot of these classes that are baked into this. And lastly, we also have text colors. Okay, so you can do, if you look right here, I haven't used this one yet, but you can use color : and then the color. Okay, and the colors that are available are right here, right? So there we go. Now we can see it well. So we have white, black, light gray. All these colors are available. And if you look, these are the same exact colors that are defined right inside site styles, right? So it's color : header, color : subheader, small, text, link, so on and so forth, right? So for text color, you have access to all the primary colors and the first row of text colors. For background colors, I only added background colors for all the component colors. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. The mini window with you is frozen. Oh yeah, look at that. The mini window of me is frozen. Oh, yep, I'm frozen. Sorry. Here, I'll ditch it. There. Now you don't need to get to see me. But hopefully everything in RapidWeaver is still good. That's the important part anyway, right? Okay. I wonder if I do. Yeah, for some reason my webcam is not working. Okay. Oh well, that's life. We'll roll with the punches. Okay. Next up. So that does all the Foundation 6.3.2 updates. Okay. Let's look at some of those other ones that I did. Let's look at I'm gonna actually clean up this page a little bit. This page has a lot of stuff in it. I'm just gonna delete it. Okay. Let me just add this. Okay. Offsite. Offsite got a nice little update. Okay, so if we add offsite into here, okay, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna add in let's do a button. Okay, I'll show you how we can integrate offsite with Foundation links now, which is kind of cool. I need a link button. Boop, link button. Okay. Wait, sometimes it doesn't want to drop for me. What the hell? Drives me nuts. Okay. Let's do, in this link, it's going to load a website. We're going to load, let's do, I think I can load this website. A lot of my websites, I don't let you load into an iframe anymore. I think this one still works, but hopefully not. Okay. So what I can do is I put in the URL to my sandbox website. And if I do target, I'm going to set it to iframe name. Okay. Hey, what? That should... Oh, man. What happened? Oh, shoot. I broke that yesterday. When I fixed another bug, I broke this one. Ah, okay. Well, that will be something I fix in an update today, probably. Rats. Hold on. I need to fix that just to show you guys really quick because it's pretty cool. And I think it's a kind of a game changer. Okay. Okay. Watch me go. You guys can watch me live fix Foundation 6 as we speak. It shouldn't take me long. If you're wondering, this is Nova. It's in beta currently from Panic. What do I want? This is a button. Oh, a but. It is up here. My button link settings. There. I renamed a setting, but I didn't fix that part. Okay, that's all fixed. I'm going to go ahead and I have to reinstall this really quick. All right, I'm going to have to restart RapidWeaver really quick. I want to show you this. So just going to have to wait 1 second while Foundation compiles. And while that's going, let me see if there's any questions. Utility cannot be read when edit mode is in dark mode. And yeah, I recommend just using that for right now. Basically what it does is it uses the theme. It uses whatever colors for text you have defined inside site styles. So if your text is dark setting inside site styles, the stacks are going to set your text to be dark because that's what your site's set to. Does that make sense? Right. So I'm not explicitly setting that to be dark. If you had set your text to be white, then it'll probably work just fine. But yeah, it's all installed now. Let's go ahead and restart RapidWeaver. So yeah, I don't really have a great solution for that. Use light mode and edit mode. Be honest. I think your workflow is going to be better for that. I pushed hard to try to get this to be the default view so that the GUI is all black, but the edit mode area is white by default. I think that just makes a more logical sense because even in other like word processors or stuff like that, whenever you're typing in the document itself is always white, even though the GUI of the app is dark. So I lost that battle, but yeah, that's my opinion on that matter. Okay, anyway, that fixed it. So now I have my iframe name over here. What I'm talking about is right here. Okay, so I set iframe name, and I set the iframe name to be offsite. And coincidentally, that is the same default name in the new offsite stack, right? So offsite has a name. I set it to offsite. Coincidence. Okay, So what should happen is, when we load this, we'll notice that this iframe right here is set to be example.org. And when I click this button, what should happen is, boom, it loads sandbox.joeworkman.net, which actually is a file upload utility right, right now. So it just loads Sandbox. I didn't even know what was on Sandbox right now. I was playing around with some dispatch stuff. So there we go. It loaded Sandbox as a URL into the iframe. It didn't refresh my page. It loaded that web page within the iframe just by clicking on this button. That's pretty cool, right? Imagine now I want to show you how you could do this with a menu, right? It's really easy with the button. It's a little bit different if we want to do it from a menu. So let's go ahead and add a menu item here. I'm just going to do one menu item right here, right? So if we do a set link on the menu item, we could put in our URL. Okay. Now what we want to do is, in here, what you do is you click on this and you do target. Okay. One thing you need to make sure is target needs to be in all caps or RapidWeaver won't let you set it. Okay. It's kind of a workaround I discovered. If you set it target and then you put the value as offsite, so that name. Okay. So you do target offsite. You click that. That will make the menu. We click on this. Boom. It loads it directly into that site box. That's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. Imagine use cases for this. Okay. Imagine some use cases for this would be, let's say we have a total CMS admin area, right? I actually saw someone do this. So I'm sorry if I'm stealing your ideas. He did a different implementation, but the concept is the same, right? So he logged into mywebsite.com/admin. And then what he did is he had multiple admin pages, but the URL never changed, right? He had, and basically what it is, he had you can have an offsite that, you have a menu that loads 3 or 4 different admin pages, but instead of loading the admin page, what it does is it loads it into this offsite. So to the user, it looks like it's all kind of a dynamic one-page thing, right? But what it's doing is just loading into an offsite. Pretty cool. I think that's a really cool concept. Maybe I'll try to do a demo of that in the future. So anyway, that is the new offsite update and how you can integrate that with Foundation 6 buttons and menus. Really, really cool. Is ImageSafe getting an update? Not sure why ImageSafe needs an update. It should work. Okay. Okay, next update. Match height. Okay, let me I have a demo of that already pre-made. I was helping someone out on Weaver Space right here. Cool. Let's copy this. Go to homepage. Okay. So oh wait, I forgot the site styles. 1 second. I had some swatches. Okay. Okay, so right here, let's just preview and show you what this does. Here I have a card, right? A Foundation 6 card that has a header and then an image and then some content. And what the user wanted was he wanted to have a slider over here that always matched the same height as the card. Okay. So he wanted this to always be the same size, no matter, if we change whatever. If you notice, it always grows to match the height of the card. Right? Really, really cool. And then when you go to mobile, they stack on top of each other. Okay. So yeah, really, really cool. I like this. What can we do to how do we do this? Okay. So it does require my match height stack, because it's kind of complicated because you're matching different heights of different components on the page. Okay. So at the top level, I said match height. And then basically, because you have to put whatever you put inside, you have to match, everything has to be inside of a match height. So I put the entire column stack here inside match height. And then I set my match height. I just use the default match height ID to be my match. Okay. And then I did turn off when on the same row because I wanted it to always match no matter what, if they were on, different rows or not. Then it's pretty simple. At this point, I have a match column. Okay. So the match column stack, I put the entire card inside there. Okay. Because that is my barometer to what I want to match. Right. So I want to match the height of this card. Okay. And then obviously you set the match ID to be my match. Okay. Then what we do is we created a slider. And this slider over here has 2 slides. Okay. And then if you look at the slide, I actually I added slide 1 and slide 2. Those are swatches. Okay, and those are background swatches. So just add it adds a background image, okay, to each slide. That's all that does. If you notice in the slide, I also gave it a class of radius. That was one of those utility classes that we get for free with Foundation that adds rounded corners to things. So if you look at the preview here, if you notice the slider has rounded corners, okay, to match the rounded corners that we have on the card, right? So that's what the radius class is. So I added that to each slide. And then inside there, we'll notice that I have a match height column because this is going to then match, and I set the match ID to be the same thing, my match. This is going to match the same height as the card. And the same thing for this slide number 2. This match height is going to match the height of that card. Okay. Now inside we have a header. Okay. And if you notice, I give this a custom class of slider caption, and I have a few different swatches for that. First, it gives it a background color of that teal color. I have a position swatch, which positions it in the middle. Okay. And then I just added some padding to make it look a little nicer. So there was some padding on that header. And that's it, right? I'll probably ship this in the next template pack. Even though it doesn't, I don't know. Give me some feedback. Let me know in the chat. So this template is cool and useful, but it does require an external stack. Should I do a different template set for that, or just include it in the Foundation templates? Because I don't want people to think, I downloaded this template pack, but this one requires a non-Foundation template. Should I do a separate template pack for plus templates that have additional features or something like that? I don't know. Just an idea. Let me know what you think. But I do plan on shipping this as a template, but I don't know if I should include it in the normal Foundation template pack or create a separate one. So anyway, so will it match whatever column? Yes. So match height matches whatever one is the tallest, right? So out of this, here, if I, for fun, let's just add, I'm going to change the match height ID on these. So in the slider, we'll see what it looks like without it, right? There it is. It's blank. It's nothing, right? Because the image itself doesn't, because it's a background image, it has 0 content. So the height of that is 0. So by adding, we have to have a height here. Oops. We have to have a height inside the slide, or else, yes. So that's how match height works. It matches the height, the tallest. So whatever is the tallest element in that group that have the same ID, you can do that. So cool, pretty cool layout. I liked it. Thanks, Johan, for doing that or coming up with that idea. Okay, cool. That was fun. Let's see what was next. Really quick, SEO helper. SEO meta tags. This actually has nothing to do with foundation at all. But we'll show you. Okay. So my most featured request for SEO helper comes with structured data, right? And the problem is structured data is it's a very loose standard, right? While I tried my best to provide all common fields. I obviously give you all required fields, and then there's some optional additional fields that you can enable. Okay. But even on top of that, there's like all these edge case fields, like hundreds of them. And I would get a lot of requests. Can we add this field? Can we add this field? And, I can't add every possible field. So I came up with an idea, and it's across all structured data stacks now. And at the bottom here, if we look at the bottom, okay, you'll see that we have advanced, we have an add custom attributes. Okay. So if I click that, you could then add your own data in here. Okay. So you could do, now it has to be the correct syntax. So this is, it's an advanced setting because, well, it's advanced. You have to be careful. You could break stuff, right? But if you follow the syntax, you could be like, my, favorite, I don't know, color, right? Maybe that's a field. I doubt it. But anyway, you would do colon and I don't know, purple. So the syntax has to be correct, right? But if you do that, there you go. I now have favorite color in my person structured data schema, right? So this is just gives us the flexibility. I'm not saying I'll never add other custom attributes in here, but I can't add every possible one, right? So I take care of the 90% inside the settings. And then those edge case scenarios, if there's ever anything that you want and you want it now, you don't want me to wait. You don't want to wait for me to add it. You could now do it yourself. Okay, cool. Okay, that was the only thing I added to SEO Helper, I believe. Next up, let's see. What were some other? There were some other cool ones. Oh, pie. Oh man, dude, pie. Do I have a template for that? I might not have time to do pie. Oh, I forgot I did do that one. I need to show you that. Pie has some really cool stuff. Here, actually, let me download a project. Maybe I still have it in my downloads folder. No. Okay, let me download a project really quick. Okay. Oh, that's a wrong one. That's not even the right project. Oh man, I don't know where it was. Okay, I'll have to do pie at a different time. You can do some really cool stuff with pie. Why not? We'll show you really quick. Okay, because it's really cool. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a form. Okay, and in this form, we're going to have some checkboxes. Okay, so I'm going to have. Oops. Let's do. I'm going to call this field name. We're going to call it cities. And the value label is going to be San Francisco. And the value is going to be San Francisco. The off value is blank. Okay. Oops. Dang it. Do that again. Let's just paste this a few times and just change the values a little bit. We'll do London. And this one will be Mexico City. Okay. So what I want to do is let's get pie on the page. Okay. What I want to do is I want to print out a bulleted list on the page of everything that I have selected here. So pie by default, it's really used for math, but there's a lot of really cool text processing that it can do now as well. Okay, so let's give this a name of vacations. Okay, we want to process text, so we have to choose this process formula as text. Okay, and let's show this snippet really quick. And then what I want to do is I'm going to build out a formula. Hopefully I still have the formula that I made in my clipboard. Yes. Okay. Let me modify this slightly. Okay. So what this does is, because it's a string, we have to encapsulate our thing in quotes. And then what I'm doing here is I'm actually outputting HTML. Okay. And then inside, basically I'm building a little HTML template here. And if you notice, I have cities in here. So I'm basically looping. I'm saying for each cities, put in a list element. Pretty cool stuff, right? Here, let me zoom in on that a little bit. So if you notice here, I have UL, and then this little syntax here is for if you have an element that has multiple things, right? So checkboxes is one, a multi-select box could be another. And you can loop through that and then output the contents of each element with this curly quote, or curly brace and a dot, right? This is pretty advanced stuff, but it's pretty cool. So here we go. And actually, I'm going to turn off HTML rendering. Okay, so how do we do that now? So now I'm just going to go ahead and add in let's just add a header. Why not? I'll add it down here at the bottom. Okay. And if you notice, our class is pi-vacations. So all I'm going to do is add that as a class to my header. Okay. Now, if we preview this, okay, you see we have 3 checkboxes and nothing, right? But if I go ahead and click San Francisco, boom, London, boom, Mexico City, turn off London, turn off San Francisco, right? 100% dynamic, and it's kind of like, that's really, really, really cool. This was used in a form from a user that I've seen already, where he gave people like a summary, a pretty little summary of what they chose in their form in a sidebar, right? So they chose multiple checkboxes. He didn't do it like HTML like I did. You could do something a lot simpler. Let's simplify this a little bit. Right? Just like if we did something like that, right? What this will do is I'm just saying for each city, put in the city and put a comma. So I'm just going to create a comma delimited list or something like that, right? Okay. It's not perfect because in this situation, it will always have a comma at the end. Okay. But yeah, pretty cool. I think it's really, really slick. Okay, but if you know a little bit HTML like I showed earlier, then you're golden. Okay. Just for fun, actually, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how it could work with a multi-select. And you can actually merge stuff, right? So I'm going to have a multi-select box here. And instead of building out one, I'm just going to say we'll load in all countries. Okay, so I have some option templates. This one's countries. And I'm going to call this multi, just because I know that name was in the formula that I pasted earlier. Okay, so this is the same formula pretty much. But first I'm loading in the cities, and then I load in all the options from the multi-select box. Okay, it's kind of the same options here. So if we preview that, I can go ahead and choose London or Mexico, and then I have this list of countries. And if I select one there, select this, select that, select that. Now this one is actually outputting, instead of the name of the country, it's outputting the values are set to be the country code, right? But you kind of get it, right? You can select as many as you want here, and it just adds it to the list. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. Someone asked, where can we find the templates? We can find the templates on the foundation product page. So if you go to weaverspace/stack/foundation, there's a download section, and all the templates are there. It's just a free download. There's a bunch of other stuff on the download section there as well. Cool. Here, just to verify, if we just go, so if we go to the foundation product page, okay, on Weaverspace, just go to downloads, and there you go. There's the theme. Foundation templates is the second one. So just download that. It'll be a zip file with all the templates, the free templates. I think there's 16 of them right now, and I'm going to be adding more, and they'll update just like any other normal stack would. Cool. All right, that was Pi. Really cool stuff in Pi. Really happy with that. Next up is actually, there's one more cool thing I want to show. That actually it wasn't a part of any updates. It's just someone on the Hangout on Friday asked me how to do this, and I wanted to show you guys. So the person, this person wanted to know how they can do floated images inside their text. So just for simplicity's sake, I just have a SVG here with some text, and then here's another SVG, and both of these are going to float within my content. Okay. And if you notice here, in this SVG, I have a couple utility classes. Okay. I have it set to float left, which magically floats that image to the left. And then I have a couple margin classes. Margin right 40 pixels, margin bottom 24 pixels. Okay. So we add a little bit of margin so that there's some gap between the text. Okay. And in order to do this, basically what you do is you just chuck a container on the page. And then you can float stuff inside of the container. Okay. And then if you set your text just to be normal text, right? Actually here I'm using, actually one key here is I'm using the markdown stack, not the text stack. Okay. That's actually a pretty important, differentiating factor here. The markdown stack is different than the text stack. Okay. In that, it doesn't have an extra div in there. So in order to get this concept working, essentially we're turning this container stack into a text stack. And then all this markdown, I just have multiple markdown stacks in here because I was lazy. I was just copy pasting them. But you could just have, big, huge bits of text. Okay, let's preview this. And if you see, my images are floated to the left. All the markdown content is floating around the images. Pretty cool, right? Okay. And then if you wanted, like even this one's set to float left. I can change that to be float right. Right. So it'll float to the right. Not sure with this content it really makes sense, but because there you go. I see now, like in this one's floated to the left. In here, it's floated to the right, and all the content's not going over the image. So that's a cool little tip. This will be a template as well. I'll probably inject some images in here instead of SVGs, but yeah, some really cool stuff. It's just those utility classes float right, and I added a couple of some margin. You could do the margins with swatches as well, but the float right is just a class. And the key here is that again, you add it to a container stack, and that use the markdown instead of the text. Okay. That was fun. Next up is Peekaboo. Okay, and luckily I actually I downloaded this project, and we're gonna show you. Okay. I'm gonna show you some of the cool stuff that you can do with Peekaboo now. I'm not gonna do a full demo of Peekaboo, but stuff like this is now possible, which is kind of cool. So here on the left, I have a bunch of buttons. If you notice, when I click on them, it just kind of rotates through the various steps. Pretty cool, right? So it just gives us a nice little dynamic container. It's kind of like tabs. You could use tabs, but it just gives you a different feel, a little bit. And you can use, these buttons could be anything, right? It could be a header or whatever. I just used a button, but you can put an image here. And you obviously probably make that animation a little bit faster so that it just really quick or something like that. But yeah, it works really, really well. So you could do stuff like this now with Peekaboo. And it's really slick. And this is the setup here. I did update the Peekaboo demo project. So, and I think I uploaded it to the server. So if you go ahead and download that again, you should be golden. So yeah, this exact demo is actually in the Peekaboo file, a demo file. Cool. Let me see if there's any other questions. When I was trying to download from the page, someone purchased, scroll up. So Floaty is now obsolete. No, Andrew, Floaty is not obsolete. I guess some options that Floaty has. Floaty is still a great stack. One thing that Floaty has that what I just displayed doesn't do is Floaty gives you the ability to define at what point does it not float anymore, right? That's a pretty big distinction. So in Floaty, you can say like on mobile, don't float, so Floaty is a little bit more flexible. And if you do have Floaty, I would use that. Actually, I just added it to the page. I should probably update it so it doesn't have all these options anymore. Maybe I'll do that this week. I'll probably release an update to Floaty, and make it a little bit more Foundation 6-ish, where it doesn't have a lot of this stuff in there. So Floaty will still be probably the more robust solution, because it will have options to when do you cancel the float and stuff like that. And then it also gives you the ability to have like some static content up top, and maybe I can update this to use markdown instead. There's so much stuff I could do here, but Floaty has a couple features that doesn't give you, that I showed you earlier. Cool. Good question. Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, I have the same question for all stacks with regard to Foundation 6. No. Not all stacks are obsolete with Foundation 6. Every stack should work properly in Foundation 6. Like for example, I said I could update Floaty to be more Foundation 6-ish. It just makes it so, if I update this, I'll probably make it so that the settings look more familiar to a Foundation 6 user. So it looks like it behaves more like Foundation 6, right? So I'll still have this classes option, but a lot of the Foundation 6 stacks don't have all these default settings up top any longer, right? So it just makes it more current, right? And so I'm slowly, if you notice, I released a bunch of updates this week, and I am going through my stacks and kind of massaging them and giving them new life. Peekaboo was the one this week, right? There was actually a lot of work, but it was a free update as well. Floaty, but once I redo this one, it'll be a free update for existing users, right? So I like to do that for these smaller stacks that you've bought, even though you only paid $10 for it or $5 or whatever, 5 years ago. It's just kind of my way of saying thanks for sticking with me. And when I release a new product, maybe you'll be more inclined to buy it because I release so many free upgrades, big upgrades like this Floaty instance. I'll probably rewrite the entire thing, right? But but it'll be better and it'll be a free update. So enjoy. My camera is still frozen, so you guys can't see me. But I guess I wanted to say thank you. I went a little bit over, but hopefully you enjoyed today. I think I answered all the questions that I saw in there. If I haven't answered them, please let me know. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think I answered everyone's questions. So if not, ping me on Weaverspace. Joe, I now use Target. Can I now use Float? You showed better. Yeah, Target is another way of doing it, right? There's so many different ways of skinning that cat, right? Target has some float options. I forget what advanced features, if Target has some more like cancel float and stuff like that. If not, I should probably add that to Target. That could be a good thing. That could be a nice advanced feature of Target, is to give you the ability, kind of like what Floaty does, but maybe a little bit more flexible. So yes, Target is a good solution for floats as well. Again, there are so many ways to implement things nowadays, that if it works for you, use it, right? Yeah. So cool. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see a lot of you on our hangout this Friday. Again, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, basically 45 minutes from right now, but on Friday. We'll see you then, and we can do more playing around. Those are kind of closed session private, so whatever happens in the hangout stays in the hangout. Hopefully we'll see you there, and take care.